What if I told you that Gen Z's supposed laziness is actually a sign of extreme adaptability, and that their constant job hopping is a sign of loyalty to themselves, a logical survival strategy in a broken system? Most people only see the behavior. We'll show you the code behind it. Generation Z is entering a job market unlike any generation before them. Global competition, resumes sorted by algorithms, exploding rents, uncertain career paths, and an artificial intelligence that is turning everything upside down. At the same time, they are being hit with the classic labels: lazy, too demanding, impatient, disloyal. But the real question goes beyond whether Gen Z works differently. Every generation does. The question that gets to the heart of it is this: does their behavior stem from attitude, or is it a logical, necessary adaptation to a broken system? Just look at the reality. In the US, young people change jobs faster than ever before. In Scandinavia, many remain surprisingly loyal because the system offers them security and a good work-life balance. In Japan, young employees are choosing quiet resistance over loud rebellion through quiet quitting. And in Southern Europe, their fight is for desperate access to any stable job at all, putting the 4-day work week on the back burner. Same generation, completely different behavior. So, what's really driving them? Their values? Or the hard economic facts that surround them? To understand this, we have to put the cliches aside and look at 3 levels. First, the money. How are wages and rents developing? Second, the rules of the game. How fair are the systems for education and job hunting? Third, the psychology. What does it do to you to grow up in an uncertain digital world? This brings us to a crucial question. Is Gen Z the problem, or are they just the first loud alarm for a system that is failing all of us? The answer changes everything. And it starts with the hard numbers away from Gen Z. To understand Gen Z, you have to look at the economy they inherited. In the United States, the gap between what young people earn and what they need to live has been widening for decades. According to data from Visual Capitalist, consumer prices have shot up by almost 23% since 2021, while wages have lagged behind. Entry-level jobs suddenly require professional experience, while AI and algorithms eliminate the typical entry-level roles. In a world like this, job security is a foreign concept. In fact, a recent Randstad study shows that the average time a Gen Z employee stays at a job has shrunk to just over a year. And the data confirms their strategy. Those who change jobs every 1.5 to 2 years can see their salary increase by 15 to 25%, while those who stay loyal often get left behind. Now let's jump to a completely different world: Scandinavia. There, a strong social safety net cushions the existential pressure of the working world, with paid parental leave, strong unions, and a culture of flexibility. Work-life balance is a right, a standard feature you can rely on. This creates a different kind of Gen Z employee, more collaborative, more loyal. Then you have Japan. Young people there are choosing to sidestep the old culture of lifelong loyalty. Fewer overtime hours, quiet quitting. That's their subtle resistance to a rigid system. And in Southern Europe, the story changes again. The main problem is getting a foot in the door at all, putting burnout on the back burner. Where a permanent job is a luxury, the debate about a 4-day week falls silent. Same generation, different rules, different behavior. This is the crucial pattern. Gen Z's behavior is a mirror. In stable systems, loyalty. In uncertain systems, mobility. In rigid systems, retreat. It's the system, not the generation, that makes the difference. Gen Z isn't the problem. They are the indicator. Let's talk about the housing market for a second. In most major Western cities, housing prices have exploded. As analysis from long-term trends shows, a typical house in the US today costs more than 7 times the average annual income. For many young people today, buying a house is a complete fantasy. Then there's retirement. It used to be tied to the company. Today, everyone has to take care of it themselves. Personal responsibility for retirement is the new standard, and loyalty to the company now pays off in other ways. Technology acts as an accelerant here. The job search has become a game against the algorithm. The psychological contract, I'm loyal to you, you're loyal to me, is being replaced by a pure business transaction. Time for money. So when Gen Z demands flexibility, what are they really demanding? They're demanding a fair distribution of risk. When companies lay people off with every market fluctuation, young employees learn a brutal lesson. You're on your own. Adaptability is essential for survival, a core skill. Personal responsibility for one's own career replaces trust in the company. This shows that Gen Z embraces responsibility. It means they look very closely at who they give their commitment to. Gen Z is playing a different game than their parents knew, and the rules of the game shape behavior more than the year you were born. But that's only part of the story. We also have to look at the psychological level. The real transformation began in the digital world where Gen Z grew up, and this has fundamentally changed their expectations of work. When you grow up in a world where everything is personalized, you develop a strong desire for autonomy and meaning. When your life on Instagram and TikTok is a story about self-realization, a standard 9-to-5 career path quickly seems unattractive. At the same time, social media creates relentless pressure to perform. You constantly see the success stories of influencers and founders, which creates the expectation that your own career must also be fast and exciting. And finally, there's this deep-seated feeling of insecurity. Growing up with financial crises, climate change, and a pandemic, Gen Z has learned stability is an illusion. This leads to a contradictory reaction: a desire for maximum flexibility on the one hand, and a longing for a security that employers now struggle to offer on the other. The debate about Gen Z is about a rupture between the expectations of a generation raised in an uncertain digital world and the structures of a working world that was built for a different era. The demand for flexibility and meaning is a rational response to a system where old certainties have vanished. Companies that understand this will start to fix work itself, instead of trying to educate Gen Z, because in the end, the behavior of these young people shows one thing above all: the state of the world we've created for them.